And we are live from the spring games in Claremont, Florida. Once again, this is Joe Foreman alongside Joe Calabrese on the call as the Dolphins take the field for their 8th game here at the spring games. They take on Bemidji State University, a team they faced last season. Once again, the Dolphins and Beavers face off in the latter portion of CSI's Florida trip. The Dolphins coming off a win in their game earlier today against Salem University by a final score of 4-3. Dolphins changing their lineup just a bit from game one. We'll go through that lineup momentarily. Leading off, it will be Eileen Balderas. She takes low for ball one. It was the Beavers that took the win over the Dolphins last season. As that pitch sails high, 8-5, Bemidji State over Staten Island. The Dolphins fell behind 3-0 in the first inning of that game, tied the score at 3. Had a 4-3 lead, fell behind 5-4, tied the game at 5, and then the Beavers scored the game's last 3 runs in the 6th inning. As Balderas fouls back that pitch, it's now 2-2. Starting lineup for the Dolphins: Balderas, Anissa Acosta, Amanda Stalker, Olivia Wanzer, Bridget Motley, Olivia Warner, Soleil Smith, Madeline Paul, Alyssa Acosta, and in the circle will be Corinne DiMartini, who was warming up in the bullpen during game one. And Joe, you suspected she might get in.
Well, that was not the case. So originally we had saw that in the latter stages of the game one, Kennedy Ruth kind of had to fight off the Tigers in those 6th and 7th innings there. But originally it was Corinne, who was the first pitcher that we saw head coach Tracy Garofalo warm up in the bullpen, but that was just because she was going to warm up to appear in this game.
Makes sense. And you see that quite often when you have a view of the bullpen. However, we often don't have a view of the bullpen. That is unique to our perspective here today, as Balderas draws a leadoff walk. And now that the news is public, speaking of Eileen Balderas, obviously last year she was the East Coast Conference Co-Player of the Year. The Dolphins now have their first winner of a Player of the Year award. Balderas Co-Player of the Year last year, but Jenelise Alarcon of women's basketball has been named the ECC Women's Basketball Player of the Year. So congratulations to Jenelise. She is one of 3 Dolphins as that pitch goes to the backstop, and you may have heard that crash. That was the ball hitting the net and then hitting the table right in front of me.
That's correct, and you did not flinch.
I did not
at
flinch.
All.
Not a bit.
Not a wasted movement.
Not a millimeter of flinch in me.
That's insane.
Though I did flinch once this week. I'm rather
I
embarrassed.
flinched twice in the same sequence.
I'm rather embarrassed about that one flinch. It's been many years. But as I was saying, Jenelise, one of 3 Dolphins to receive ECC all-conference honors, the other 2 being Messiah Mallory of men's basketball, all-conference first team, and Amber Abusbear of women's basketball, all-conference second team. Once again, that pitch misses high, and now TJ's ahead in the count, 2-0 with Balderas in scoring position at second.
Nice start here early for the Dolphins. Doing a good job taking some pitches.
And that's off the glove of the catcher into the backstop. So that's going to be a passed ball. And now Balderas stands over at third.
Absolutely paramount that the Dolphins get this first runner in.
Pitch on its way. That's in for a called strike.
So TJ taking all the way on that 3-0. Hopefully the Dolphins, as of right now, can pay closer attention and take advantage of the fact that the starter is a little wild.
Well, TJ went fishing on that pitch. And now it's 3-2. In the circle for the Beavers, Danica Sarf. She's looking for a big strikeout here against one of the Dolphins' most dangerous hitters. Comes the 3-2. Outside, ball 4. Back-to-back walks to open the game. A wild pitch and a passed ball moved Balderas up to third. And Joe, very quickly, there's action in the Beavers bullpen.
Yeah, so we saw this with Southwest Minnesota State the other day. pitcher came out from the bullpen into the game very, very early on and kind of stabilized the game for the Mustangs. But that was a great take by TJ there. That pitch was very, very close.
And again, that pitch sailed high. Acosta takes off for second as it got away from the catcher. So initially it hit the glove, and Benedict just couldn't find it after that.
Yes. So for this particular game, we are not scoring the game. It'll be very interesting to see how this game was scored in the first inning once we complete.
Well, the live stats aren't pushing, so we're not going to see that.
Well,
the lineups are in.
No, the lineups are in.
Sometimes it doesn't populate until an inning ends. I've seen that before, and now they're pushing.
Okay.
Right on cue.
Right on cue.
Right on cue. The internet here can be rather suspect if you don't have a hot spot.
That's right.
Thankfully, my new iPhone has served as a very good hot spot.
So according to what we've seen in the stats here, Balderas advanced to second on a wild pitch. She advanced to third on a pass ball. And we'll get that.
That is absolutely correct.
Yes.
Now they gave Acosta a steal of second base.
Interesting.
TJ says thank you. Count 2-2 on Amanda Stalker, and she takes up and away for ball 3.
So first base is open as Stalker works the count to 3-2.
Payoff pitch on its way. And Stalker goes down swinging. Good high fastball there by Sarf. And that's a big first out.
Really well placed Stalker, just a little late on it and couldn't quite turn around on it.
And now Olivia Wanzer looks at a pitch up and away for ball 1. So Sarf's had to work from behind in the count here in this first inning. Obviously with the 2 walks, has put a couple on base. She came back to get Stalker, but you can't live from behind in the count all game. And Wanzer hits one a mile high, right field line, foul territory, and it falls. Now, that's obviously not going to be an error, but Joe, if they catch that, the Dolphins get a run. So,
yes,
depending on the result of the at-bat, sometimes it's better if that gets down.
Yes, absolutely, and that was a case where the wind kind of pushed that little out of the outfielder's reach. Again, catch 22 there, because if that ball is caught, a run comes home.
And Wanzer takes down and in for ball 2. Well, in the first inning against one of CSI's more dangerous hitters, you obviously take the out there. I don't think there's any question.
No question.
But if they get an out here without the run scoring, it ultimately benefits you that that ball fell down and was carried a long way by the wind. And Wanzer takes inside ball 3. The Beaver fans did not like the call. Some grumblings over our shoulder.
I believe that pitch did arc in. Came in a little high based on where the catcher caught the ball. That's where you got the oohs and the ahs.
And that one's fouled off. So another full count. 3-2 on Wanzer, 2 in scoring position, 1 out.
See, we've had this situation play out for the Dolphins since we've been down here in Claremont, more so in the middle to later innings. And it's playing out here in the first inning. So let's see if they can get that hit that they haven't gotten as much.
That's fouled off again. And you said it, Joe, just so many times the Dolphins have had multiple runners in scoring position.
I'm thinking at least 5 or 6 times there has been a second and third, 1 out, 2 out situation. And in this case, in the first inning, they put runners on second and third with nobody out.
They fared a lot better with the bases loaded, as Wanzer fouls off another.
3 consecutive foul balls here by Wanzer. She stays in, locked in.
On the first 2 days here in Claremont, the Dolphins had bases clearing doubles. Those were the 2 big blows to help them win their first 3 games. As that misses low, ball 4. Here comes Balderas as that pitch was in the dirt. And Balderas is in to score. Dolphins go in front 1-0 as ball 4 was a wild pitch that skipped in. Acosta did move up to third as well, and the Dolphins now have runners on the corners with one out. They lead it 1-0, and Bridget Motley will be the batter.
Before, we were gifted chicken parm sandwiches, Joe.
There's another wild pitch. Here comes Acosta, and she is in to score. Dolphins now lead it 2-0, but let's talk about those great sandwiches.
They were great sandwiches. They were gifted to us. Whose grandmother is here?
Alex.
Alex's grandmother. Yeah, so I spoke to Alex's father before. Alex's grandmother's here. She made us sandwiches. And then and what I was getting at is I also spoke to Bridget's father. And Bridget obviously being at the plate, so that's where where the starting point for this was. And every single person who was here supporting the Dolphins live says the same thing about the broadcast show. They enjoy it, but more so, they think we're hysterical. They think we're really, really funny. And I happen to think we're really great, too.
Well, I'm super serious, so now I'm offended. You get it? That's funny.
That is really fun. That's why I'm laughing.
You know, I talk about it all the time on the broadcast, and people are shocked when they hear it. But my on-air persona is nothing like my
Absolutely
real-life persona.
nothing like. You're more of a recluse in person.
Exactly. It's part of the job. It's what makes it fun.
That is correct. And
it's my form of acting.
Yes. And what we do here is it doesn't matter if it's me, if it doesn't matter if it's either of the Knicks, Pavone, or Durst. I tell people all the time, it doesn't have to sound totally polished, even though it's obviously what your aim is for and what the goal is for if we're doing this with CSI Sportsnet. But I think we all individually are good at this, and we all have good chemistry with each other, and being friends outside of that certainly helps.
Absolutely right. As Motley fouls that one back.
What'd you say? What was that?
Absolutely right.
Yes, absolutely right. So what I would probably respond, you know I'm right to that, right? Yeah. There you go.
Well, for those who think I'm like this in real life, I know you're wrong. As that misses low. It's always a pleasure to meet the families, the players, the friends, and every once in a while, someone in our circle will be out and about, whether it be at work or doing anything, and they run into somebody who in some way is connected with the broadcast as Motley draws a walk. But our colleague, No Nonsense Nino, Antonino Cruciata, works as a teacher.
No Nonsense Nino. Big shout out as we're going to have changes here.
He didn't tell me which cheerleader it was, but the parents of one of the CSI cheerleaders, or the parent of a CSI cheerleader, was working with him. And when she found out that he knew Joe Foreman and Nick Durst from CSI, nothing but good things to say about the broadcast.
So the official change, we have a pitching change here. We 0 for 13, Joe. Now, we're not doing the stats.
Zero Lucero is the new pitcher.
Yes.
And if you're the Dolphins, you have to feel pretty good about the start. Obviously, you haven't had to swing the bats much, but that's part of what makes such an appealing start to the game.
Absolutely.
As already 2 runs are home, 2 on base, 1 out. When the action resumes, Olivia Warner will be the batter. And the Dolphins, after dropping 3 straight, now have a chance, coming off a win, to go up by 3 or more runs here in the first inning. Runner on second when the action resumes is Wanzer, and Motley stands over at first. Lucero getting warm here as batter up from the home plate umpire. Signals the start of play as a low-flying helicopter makes its way over the complex.
Wow. That's a first. It's the first low-flying aircraft that we've seen here at the complex. Don't really see too many planes. We're kind of about an hour or so from the Orlando airport, so kind of out of the reach there to see any kind of planes or anything like that in our vicinity.
I'll be booking it straight to the airport tomorrow once we finish here as I head to Buffalo for the East Coast Conference Men's and Women's Basketball Championships. Both the men and the women in action on Saturday. 2:30 for the women, 5 o'clock for the men. As the 1-0 pitch to Olivia Warner is swung on and missed for strike 1. Comes the 1-1. That misses high.
Throughout our first 5 days, and obviously with the day off yesterday, though this is fourth day of game action, the Dolphins have had excellent at-bats overall, I think. And here early on, where these first two pitchers, Joe, have kind of not had really command of the strike zone, those diligent Dolphins at-bats have really played a factor here in the first inning. They haven't swung at anything really outside the zone.
And Warner looks at a called strike 3 on the outside corner. So Lucero comes out of the bullpen and immediately picks up a big strikeout. And it will be left to Soleil Smith. But to your point, Joe, the Dolphins really didn't get too many close pitches through the first 5 batters. And with Lucero attacking the strike zone against Warner there at the end of that at-bat, she got caught looking. Did chase a pitch in the dirt there on 1-1. As that one skips in, Wanzer heads for third, and Smith just got pegged in the back with the softball. It never came out of the catcher's hand. That's an unusual play.
It is an unusual play. The catcher was looking to make a throw towards third, and Soleil stepped out of the box, gave the catcher a lane 2 throw, and like you said, the catcher, the throw never really got out of her hand.
That's chopped right back to Lucero in the circle, and Smith is out at first to retire the side. Dolphins settle for 2 runs in the top half of the first. They strand 2 in scoring position. Beavers come to bat, trailing by 2 when we come back. Bottom of the first inning from the spring games. Staten Island leads Bemidji State 2-0. Beavers will come to bat for the first time against Dolphin starter Corinne DiMartini, who makes her first appearance of the trip. First appearance of the season as well. DiMartini's been staked to a 2-run lead. And we'll get you the lineup she will face momentarily. For those familiar with Stat Crew, very important to get into that grid view if you don't have a word roster, though I may have one in my inbox. We'll check that in a minute. And we do.
Voila.
Thank you to Kristen from Bemidji State. Unless I sent our word roster. Uh-oh, I think I sent ours.
You think you sent?
This might be it here.
Let's see.
No, that's ours.
Nope. We're still working on the rosters.
So that's very odd that all of the attachments from the email chain would appear at the top. But the website has a great pronunciation guide, and clearly we need to put this on our page. Look at that. They have an audio
That's
and
excellent.
a phonetic.
Absolutely.
The name engine.
Great job by the Beavers,
Well,
making it much easier.
I need
for
to
us.
start using that feature. Certainly will begin using that moving forward. I've never seen this feature before. As that's popped up, shallow left field, and it falls for a hit. So Alexa Christensen, the first batter for the Beavers, hit one high up into the air into shallow left.
No woman's land, just landed right out of the Balderas' reach, and she was working her way back, and nothing really she could do.
So a bloop single to start the game for the Beavers. At least start their first turn at bat anyway. And that pitch misses out of the zone to Jackie Larson for ball 1. And that's on the inside corner for a called strike. Well, Nick Bavona has told me to go check the live chat.
Did
Gotta
you
look in
give us
there
a
in a minute.
surprise?
I don't think it's a surprise. That's bunted right in front of the plate. Paul plays it on the bounce. Throw not in time. And Acosta was not on the bag anyway. That's going down as a bunt single.
The element's a surprise there, Joe.
Well, thank you to everyone in the live chat who's given us their positive feedback all week. What I want to know is why Nick isn't in there raving about us, too.
He's too busy.
This is Nick Bavona, by the way.
Oh,
theirs.
Nick Bavona.
Yes. That's hit slowly to second. And they have the runner in a rundown. What was Warner thinking? And they get an out at second. Wow.
That's
So
interesting.
let's recap that play, Joe.
Well, she was going to
Now,
try to run.
are they going to say she ran out of the baseline and obstructed? All right, so let's paint the picture of what just happened, Joe.
Yes.
It was a slow roller to second base. Warner fielded the ball. The runner coming from first to second was face-to-face with Warner.
Yes.
Warner squared up and went to apply the tag. Did not apply the tag and then threw to first instead.
Right.
The runner then continued on to second and probably should have beaten the throw. Somehow the Dolphins got an out there. The runner at first was safe, but I'm just curious why Warner didn't tag the runner.
I think it's important to note that Warner, in that little bit of that rundown, that whatever half a second, whatever it was, she did run the base runner back a couple of steps. So I think those couple of steps made the difference in allowing just that little extra time to get the throw to second. For Balderas, who was covering second, to apply the tag. And
but all she has to do is tag her, Joe.
Right.
She can't go out of the baseline. There's no way around Warner.
Right. But it actually works in the Dolphins' favor here because
it doesn't. It works exactly as it would have, and they almost threw it away.
We got 2 outs here, and they run out there for the one out.
1 out. And that's hit to second sharply. Warner got a glove on it, but it rolls into center field for a base hit.
Right.
In to score is Christensen with the first Beavers run, and the Dolphins' lead has been cut in half on that RBI base hit. So the live stats here, we're still in the wrong inning, that's why. Just trying to follow the at-bats that way. It is not working. So I believe that was Mariah Stevenson with the RBI hit. She drives in the run. It's 2-1. And the Beavers now have runners on first and second with 1 out. They are definitely on the venue Wi-Fi, 100%. 100%. As that misses low. I couldn't even connect to the venue Wi-Fi.
You know what they need? They need a hotspot.
We have 2 of them.
Just in case. You know what they say about hotspots? If you have 2, you're all set.
They say that?
No, they don't say that.
Okay.
But it's lines like this that allow the parents to come to us and say exactly how funny we are.
It's lines like that one? Are you sure? Are you sure?
No, you're right. It's actually everything that we say.
No.
Mostly everything that we say.
Let's tell them how we feel about sunscreen again, as that's taken up and in. At the plate now is Molly Houts. Count is 2-2. DiMartini looking for a big second out. That's it sharply. Balderas fields and goes to third. Good play there by Balderas. And they get the lead runner for the second out.
Was the easy play, was the simple play, and based on where that ball was hit, it was the only play.
I think that sums it up pretty well, Joe. I can't add anything to that. Though Balderas did a nice job. Did go down to a knee to make that play, and it was going to be a really tough chance over at first. She went the short way and got the out. And now it's going to be left to the pitcher, Kira Lucero. Lucero came on and picked up a strikeout in the first inning. Got the final 2 outs. Did not allow any Dolphin runs to come home after entering. She's behind 0-1 after a first pitch foul ball and takes low.
So a bit of a wonky defensive inning for the Dolphins so far, which is something that we've seen a couple of times here in their first 8 games down in Claremont. But DiMartini, with one more pitch, she'll be able to get out of this with just the 1 run. So let's see if she can do it.
That's popped up in foul ground. 3 Dolphins give chase, and it lands at the fence. You said it earlier, Joe, during our first game. There was a lot of room in foul territory. High fences as well. And I think high fences are generally the safer route. Last year, I was shocked at how low some of the fences were here in Florida. You could take a stumble and do a head over heels right over the top of the fence.
Yeah, so we've seen the extra space, not so much in left, even though we have seen, I think, 2 balls hit in that direction, but more so in right, between the wind and a little bit of that extra space. There have been balls that have hung up a little bit that, you know, under normal circumstances, maybe a little more catchable.
And there's a grounder through the left side for a base hit. They're waving the runner home. Throw to the plate. Not in time, and the runner will move from second to third as well. The Beavers have tied the score on an RBI single by Kira Lucero. In to score from second base was Stevenson. She scores the tying run. And just like that, Bemidji State has gotten even.
And that ball was so hard hit that Bridget Motley at third didn't really have a play on it.
Not a chance.
Hit perfectly, a little more to the third base side of the shortstop third base hole, but nonetheless.
And that's straight through the 5-hole of DeMartini and into center field. I think it caught her on the inside of the leg just barely, but it was hit so hard that it still went up the middle. And Bemidji State now leads it 3-2. That was Morgan Benedict with that last RBI hit. At the plate now is Jillian Johnson. And Johnson pops it up. Souvenir incoming. Into the netting. Count 0-1. Runners on first and second with 2 outs here for the Beavers. The Dolphins now trailing 3-2. We also spoke about this during the early game, Joe. How many runs have been scored in the early going of games as that's hit high in the air, just beyond the infield, and Warner makes the catch.
We'll get to that in the top of the second inning.
We sure will. 5 runs scored in the first, 3 to the Beavers, 2 to the Dolphins. Our score, Bemidji State 3, Staten Island 2 after 1. Second inning here in Claremont. Dolphins now behind by a run, 3-2. And Madeline Paul will lead things off for the Dolphins here in the road second. But, Joe, we talked about it before the break. The Dolphins have been involved in a lot of games that have seen many runs scored early. And once again, we have 5 in the first inning here today.
And based on those games, if we're taking the trends from all those previous games, after a plethora of runs were scored in the first inning or two, we didn't really see too much offensive action throughout the remainder of those games. So, as you mentioned at the top, this game was 8-5 last year as Madeline Paul strikes out there to begin the top of the second. This game was 8-5 last year, right? So it was relatively higher scoring. So we'll see if that plays out again as the game goes on.
Well, they didn't score as many runs in the first inning today as they did last year. Each team got 3 last year. And during that last at-bat, Lucero dealt a couple of really good off-speed pitches against Paul. Now Alyssa Acosta is the batter, and she chops one off the glove of Lucero. Nice pick at short to make that play look easy. How about that play by Christensen?
The deflection off the glove kind of made that a little bit easier for Christensen.
After that deflection, it took a really bad hop again. This infield has created some funky hops. And, Joe, looking at this infield here at Field 1, this looks a lot more rock solid than the other fields looked.
Yes.
Eileen Balderas, the batter now, as it's back to the top of the Dolphins' order. And Balderas takes ball 1.
What school plays here, Joe?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Because there is a school to our right, on the top of the hill. In the complex, as Balderas chops that foul to the left side. It seems like of all the 4 fields here at the complex, this is the one predominantly used for the school's games.
That would make sense because of this seating bowl. We've been calling it the Coliseum all week. An all-stone seating bowl with the field kind of embedded in the hillside a bit. And then the other fields are all elevated up a stone staircase behind us. They are all on level ground. This one is a bit further down the hillside. That's it on the ground to short by Balderas. Another chance for Christensen. And the Dolphins go down 1-2-3 in the second. Beavers come to bat when we return, leading Staten Island 3-2. And we are back from the spring games in Claremont, where Amy Christensen will be the batter. Alexa Christensen was the leadoff batter, and now Amy lines a base hit into left center field. Five hits now for the Beavers, and they have the leadoff batter on once again in the second. Now Alexa Christensen will be the batter. And she lines one straight into the glove of Balderas. Just getting back was Amy Christensen over at first.
Very alertly throwing to first there by Balderas, and good effort by the base runner to get back there. Ample time, I think, to beat the throw, but Balderas made it much closer than it should have been. But DeMartini over here getting a much-needed first out.
Well, if any Dolphin has the arm to make that close, it's Balderas. At the plate now, Jackie Larson. She takes high, ball one. Larson had a base hit her first time up. A lot of action down in the Dolphins' bullpen. We caught it during the break. Paige Bell was throwing, another Dolphin who hasn't appeared yet. And with each year, for the last couple now, the Dolphins have really added a lot of pitching. And I can't remember the last time they had this many arms.
It's like I mentioned in game one, Tracy Garofalo has had a couple, which included Curran here and Paige, that she hadn't used yet. And the idea was that before the end of this trip, before the end of tomorrow, is that she wanted to see every pitcher available to her. You may see, as this game progresses, may or may not, but you may also see the opportunity for pinch hitters to come in the game too. So very deep roster here, and Coach wants to see what they have.
There was a time, as the count now on Larson is 3-1, there was a time probably 7 or 8 years ago when the Dolphins were in Division III in the CUNYAC and had won, I think it was at one point 9 championships straight, 8 or 9, as that's a bunt single on a 3-1 pitch by Larson. No play for Acosta, and the Beavers have 2 on. But there was a time when the Dolphins were a powerhouse in the CUNYAC when they only had, I believe, 3, maybe 4 pitchers max. And they didn't need any more than that. Dolphins every season.
Well, obviously a step up in level
Of course.
Requires a deeper roster,
But this was
more
a team
talent.
that won games in the NCAA tournament, and obviously once you're in tournament play, the pitching depth perhaps matters a bit more when you have the games stacked up on top of each other. At the plate now, Aubrey Ackerman. And she lines one into right field for a base hit. They are going to wave Christensen home as it got by Smith. It rolls all the way to the fence. And that error will result in an additional 2 runs as Smith had the ball get under her glove.
We've discussed this before in the previous game, Joe. This is Soleil Smith's really, these last couple of games, first looks that she's been getting. She was in left field last game, and she made a nice play getting underneath the ball. They're kind of a little late getting to it. The ball went to the glove, underneath the glove, went to the fence. We have a change here.
Umpire is in need of a pen.
A pen. Okay. So no
SID
change.
to the rescue, Joe.
Assistant SID to the rescue. But as I was finishing that statement, Smith getting the reps in the outfield. Unfortunately, they're allowing the ball to roll underneath her glove all the way to the fence, and that allows 2 extra Beaver runs to score.
Well, the Dolphins, with an outfield alignment that we've only seen yesterday, or now that would be Tuesday. Told you, Joe, time flies when you're having fun, but without Mariah Carcano out there, there's a lot more burden on each one of those outfielders.
With Carcano in second in this game, if that was the case and the injury kind of forced their hand there, they're going to preserve her for later in the season once you get into conference play. But if Carcano's in center field, that means Stalker is in right there, and Stalker's a little more of a seasoned outfielder. She made a great play in her own right in right field in the first game. So, bad break over there for Smith. She's had great at-bats there, so she's still learning the positions a little bit, the corner outfield spots. But unfortunately, Joe, the Dolphins have a 6-2 hole to work from now.
right, Stevenson is the batter here. It's 0-2, and that's ripped down the left field line, foul. Well, the Dolphins' bullpen is quiet now, so the pitchers who are out there getting warm appear to be ready. And we'll see how much longer the Dolphins keep DeMartini in the game. You have to think that they're likely to get at least 2 more outs here, and then perhaps find things in the 3rd inning. But for now, with sort of clean slate, the base is empty. Obviously, the last 2 runs weren't her fault, at least not yet. She's ahead 0-2 here, and that's fouled off again. And I think one of the challenges for the Dolphin pitchers, really as a staff, has been when they get ahead in 2-strike counts, they've had a lot of problems putting hitters away. Really, Kennedy Ruth is the only Dolphin who's consistently struck out batters, and Marina Grenier as well in her first start. Got the big strikeouts when she needed them, and that was a huge difference maker for her. Another foul ball keeps it 0-2. That's ripped foul. Just a series of foul balls here. But not only does the frustration mount with the repeated foul balls, but the pitch count runs up, and it is an extremely comfortable day here in Claremont, but that's not always the case when you're pitching under the Florida sun.
Breezy day, more breezy than we have seen, but again, like I mentioned, the UV is 8, so our arms are kind of getting a little bit of a burn.
Deep to center. Back goes Stalker at the wall, and it lands at the base of the fence. Stevenson heading for 3rd, slides in just ahead of the tag, and she is on with a triple. Molly Houts will be next as the Beavers continue to hit the ball hard. That's up and in, ball 1. Houts reached on a fielder's choice and scored her first time up. That's hit to 3rd. Great play by Motley on the backhand, and she threw it away. That will allow a run to score, and up to 2nd goes Houts as the Dolphins have made yet another error here in this inning.
You know what, Joe? She made a really good pick on that play, a tremendous pick, but it seemed like it was kind of at the webbing of the glove, right? And that's in that weird between spot where, like, the transfer, it becomes a little bit difficult. So between trying to get the base runner hustling down to 1st and not really having too clean of a transfer on the throw there, great pick by Motley, but unfortunately, once again, she threw it away, and another Beavers run. So it is now 7-2.
And we've seen that already more than once, where the Dolphins make a non-routine play. Some might even say that a bunch of those plays were exceptional plays. That one definitely was an exceptional pick.
Well, I don't think that was even a routine play.
That was an exceptional play there. What I'm saying is they've made some really nice plays and then botched the throw.
Right.
Sometimes it has to do with the base runner putting pressure on, hustling down the line. Other times it has not. And we've seen a lot of miscues when it comes to throwing the ball around the infield. As that ball's hit well, perhaps off the end of the bat, and Acosta couldn't track it. It falls in front of her for another Dolphins error. It hit her glove on the way down, and the Beavers continue to pile it on here. Having to stop at 3rd was the lead runner on the play.
Seems like Acosta was fighting both the sun and the wind on that play.
Houts only moved 1 base. Very easily could have scored, but obviously she made the assumption that the ball would be caught. Standing at 2nd is Kira Lucero. And now with 2 in scoring position, Morgan Benedict comes to bat. DeMartini's still in there, and her first pitch is low, ball 1. And if you look in the outfield, Joe, center, Stalker is playing very
deep.
Very deep. As that's it at Acosta, she makes the catch. Throw goes to second,
And she got her
they
at second.
double off Lucero. What was Lucero doing that far up the line?
I don't think so, and I'll tell you something, too. That runner at third base, she also had left early.
Did they think that was going to fall?
I thought that's exactly what I think.
They had to.
Right.
Well, the Dolphins will certainly take it, and an orthodox, I believe that was 9-4 in the double play or 9-6. Who was covering, Balderas or Warner? Not that it matters. We're not scoring the game.
Right.
But an outfield-assisted double play ends the inning. Dolphins trail 7-2. Third inning from the spring games in Claremont. Dolphins now trail by 5 runs. They led this game 2-0, and Bemidji State has scored the last 7. We saw some unusual happenings during that last half inning. Obviously, the Dolphin errors hurt CSI, but the base running there at the end cut that inning short for the Beavers.
With runners at second and third with 1 out.
Well, if you're the Dolphins, you have to be okay with how that ended up given the errors. Obviously, you're not happy with the errors, but given the errors, you have to be all right with how that inning came to an end. This game very easily could have gotten out of hand in that second inning. And now Anissa Acosta grounds one through the left side, and it gets all the way to the wall.
All the way to the left center field fence. But a nice play by the left fielder to track that all the way down and get the ball back in. So Acosta, who rips that,
and
ends up on second.
That is not the first time we've seen her do that.
Yes. But in this case, it wasn't. She hustled out of the box, and she was really running the base as well at second base. That's just a great play by the left fielder.
We've seen Acosta get ground ball extra base hits to right center as well. That one was through the left side and into the left center field gap all the way to the fence as Amanda Stalker takes strike 1. Comes the 0-1. And Joe, without the scoreboard now, it's our time. We really have to
gotta keep track of pitches.
Keep track of that. It's 1-1 on Stalker now.
You would think that there would be somewhere in the dugout.
You would think they'd have a Daktronics panel.
Right.
What
that
year is
too.
this? I don't think I've seen a scoreboard operated by iPad anywhere else. It's 1-2 on Stalker after the 1-1 was fouled off toward the Dolphins' dugout. Lucero looking for a big third strike here. And Stalker hits one in the air, foul territory, and out of play.
About at least 6 or 7 foul balls hitting to that exact same spot out there in right center. Probably slightly beyond the dugout, right? Our vantage point, we can't see that area out there.
And that sails up and away, 2-2. Acosta on second, nobody out here in the road third inning. Here comes the 2-2. And Stalker fouls it back on a half swing.
Umpire almost making a great one-handed catch off the net. Seems like the Beavers catcher over here maybe got in the way of that a little bit. Still a great effort nonetheless, and nice job by Stalker. Staying a little bit behind that off-speed pitch. Effectively fouling it off directly in front of us, keeping the at-bat alive.
And Stalker takes high, ball 3.
And this is what we keep saying, Joe. Like, the Dolphins, good at-bats, right? Coming into the inning, trailing 5. Big Acosta hit to start the inning, and Stalker working the count to 3-2 here.
Here comes the payoff pitch. That's fouled off again.
That time the umpire did not make an effort to go catch it.
Have you heard the spectators saying there it is on every pitch? What is it?
Are we allowed to comment on that as we're doing this?
Well, I hope so. Here comes another 3-2, and that's high for ball 4.
Great at-bat there by Stalker. She's had some very, very strong at-bats during the Dolphins' time here in Claremont. And this is exactly what they need, Joe. Coming off of that inning where DeMartini got hit a little bit, there was an error here, an errant throw, a couple of wonky things, which is something that hasn't been so unfamiliar to the Dolphins this trip so far. First 2 base runners at first and second here with nobody out, and Wanzer at the plate.
Olivia Wanzer, as I've mentioned already on the trip, the only Dolphin with a home run this year. And Joe, they could really use one right now.
Wouldn't that be great?
If you're a fan of the Dolphins, it would be. And she was swinging for it there.
She was.
Just got a piece, fouled it off. 1-1. So the ball is walked back out to the circle. Wanzer heads down the line for a word with Tracy Garofalo. One and 1 the count on Wanzer. Stalker on first, Acosta on second. The Dolphins trail 7-2 here in the top of the 3rd. Pitch on its way. High, 2-1. Comes the 2-1. Upstairs, ball 3.
You know what I'm about to ask you, Joe, right?
Green light.
You're going to give her the green light.
Well, you're asking me?
It's 3-1.
I probably wouldn't give her the green light here.
Absolutely.
No.
I think
you were
should take
asking
one
about
here.
the green light. I would probably take one
You know
here.
how I feel.
Trailing by 5. And she swings and hits it to short. But the runner obstructed the shortstop's view of the ball. It gets through, and the bases are loaded.
That was a shrewd play over there by Acosta.
It was completely unintentional.
Yeah.
But definitely played a role. And there was really nothing that Christensen could do.
A little bit of shrewdness, a little bit of just well-timed luck, a little bit of mischief there, kind of halting in that one position just enough to obstruct the shortstop. Ball goes underneath the glove, and the Dolphins have the bases loaded here with nobody out.
So the green light was given, and it pays off, as Bridget Motley will get another at-bat with the bases loaded here.
Just had a couple of these this trip. Her father is in attendance. Big fan of the broadcast.
That's it to second, and they'll go to first with it. So 1 run will come in to score, and the Dolphins will take that. It's now 7-3.
Listen, there are a lot of people who would disagree with me. Discrepancy in the idea that there are productive outs in baseball or softball. In that case, based on the context of the game, massively productive out for Bridget Motley. Well-placed grounder on the right side of the infield. No play at home. Beavers went with the smart play to first. And here we go again, Joe. Second and third, the Dolphins, 1 out.
The key to that was that their only play was at first base. As you said, no play at the plate. Grounder on the right side. They could only go one place with that one. You'll take that. As Olivia Warner gets ahead 1-0. We'll see how many times I get the score wrong now the rest of the game, Joe, with the scoreboard frozen in time.
I'll be counting.
That's grounded to short. That will get in another run. Wanzer takes off for third, and she was safe. Wow.
I thought she was safe.
She was safe.
She was safe.
I knew she was about to be called out because the throw beat her, but she was safe.
She was safe.
That was not a good call.
Okay, we're on the same page here.
Yeah.
However, the Dolphins do chip away and get 2 back. Very important.
That is still not good base running because she took...
No, they needed to charge it.
Yeah, they're asking about the scoreboard right now, and the iPad is dead. So it is 7-4 in favor of the Beavers. They come to bat in the home third after this. And we are back for the home third. First pitch, tapped past the circle to short. Balderas has to hurry, and she throws to first in time to get the out.
1 pitch, 1 out, and we had a pitching change, Joe.
Alexis Miramontes into the game for the Dolphins, making her third appearance of this trip. At the plate here is Amy Christensen. The first batter of the inning was Jillian Johnson, who was retired on one pitch. And as we mentioned, Joe, Alexis Miramontes in the game. Her grandmother, I was told, treated us to those chicken parm sandwiches.
Delicious chicken parm sandwiches. Head coach Tracy was over here before. She asked us.
She asked a very dumb question, Joe.
She asked a very dumb question. If we had saved her a sandwich.
She asked Joe Foreman if he saved somebody food. I looked and said, "Do you know who you're talking to, Tracy?"
Apparently, she didn't know who she was talking to.
As she was walking away, I said, my broadcast partner, Joe, there were 2 sandwiches left here. He's lucky he got one. He wasn't at the table. As far as I'm concerned, he left the broadcast desk.
Out of the kindness of your heart,
That's right.
You waited for me to come back and let me know that there was a sandwich here waiting for me.
Honestly, Joe, it's a good thing I didn't eat mine before you got here. I wouldn't have been here.
Yeah.
Good stuff, though. Good stuff. Unfortunately, I lost the count in all of this.
So did I.
Miramontes looks in and delivers to Christensen. And that's hit softly to short. Balderas with another chance. And the Dolphins have 2 quick outs.
I believe the count there was 2-1.
It doesn't really matter.
Doesn't really matter now, does it?
It does not. It does not.
Well, here's what we can confirm. There are 2 outs here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. So Miramontes coming in, making quick work of the first 2 batters that she has seen. And again, she's been tasked here to kind of stabilize this game for the Dolphins a little bit. But with those 2 runs, 7-4, 3-run deficit, not great, but much better than 7-2. And if they can get out of this inning and give them an opportunity to put runs up in the top of the 4th inning, great for the Dolphins.
You can trust me to count the outs, Joe.
Yes.
You cannot trust me to count balls and strikes.
Well, thankfully, we have the home plate umpire right in front of us as well. That certainly
I better
helps.
get my pen back, as that misses up and away. That pen is near and dear to me. It's my last college sports communicator translucent pen.
Really?
It is. Need that back. And that's hit to second. Warner makes the play and throws to first in time. A very quick 1-2-3 inning for Alexis Miramontes, and we're through 3 here in Claremont. The Dolphins trail 7-4. Dolphins coming to the plate here in the road 4th inning, trailing by 3 runs. CSI trying to work their way back into this one as Deanna Dubois swings and misses. So it looks like the Dolphins have pinch hit for Soleil Smith, if I'm not mistaken, at this spot in the batting order, Joe.
Yes.
And Dubois takes high.
And it was Tracy who telegraphed that to us, 76 for 00.
Right.
She came to us thinking that we were doing the stats of the game, not realizing that the other school was doing it this game.
She did us a favor and then undid that by asking for food, as that's grounded to short, and the throw goes to first in time.
That she did.
I guess I haven't been around the softball team closely as much as I've been around some of the other programs. So they haven't seen my eating habits, but
No.
yeah.
But I have.
You sure have.
I sure have.
Yeah, eat
For
big
anybody
to get
listening,
big, right?
you should see how Joe Foreman could eat.
Eat big to get big is what they say. Madeline Paul, the batter, checks her swing and takes a strike.
Seemed like that pitch fooled her a little bit.
0-1 the count. Well, the good news for the Dolphins, even though the bases are empty right now with 1 out in the inning, is that if they can get runners on, the top of the order is waiting. And if they do not get runners on, the top of the order would lead off in the next inning. So
Right you are, Joe.
you're in a decent spot right now, even without the bases occupied. But you definitely can't afford to give up any more runs here.
Another half swing there by Madeline Paul. Seems like she's been fooled these last couple of pitches. She wastes that away on a foul ball. Ground ball. And Coach Sugar almost cleanly fielded that. in his first base coach's box over there.
You have Coach Sugar and Ice Spice on the same team.
That's right.
Are you the Everything Nice? That's a classic.
Oh, that got me good.
Our 90s audience will get that one.
Oh, yeah.
So our camera operator...
I can't wait for Bavona to hear that one.
Our camera operator, Patsy Lorenzo, has 3 nieces. His sister just gave birth to twins, so congratulations.
Please don't tell
to
me
Dan
they're
and Mike.
Blossom Bubbles and Butter.
They are not, but he calls himself Mojo Jojo. The count on Paul, full 3-2.
Big at bat here for the Dolphins. Get a runner on first here. Maybe do some damage this inning.
And that's grounded foul.
But to answer your question, if I am the Everything Nice
You
element of
definitely
this
are.
trip, I definitely am.
You are, 100%. You're much nicer than I am. 3-2 the count.
You're not so bad, but sometimes you're a little rough around the edges.
Just don't get me into any philosophical conversations and you'll be all right. Talk about the weather.
All right, let's reset because Madeline Paul just took ball 4, and that was a great job of her working the count to her advantage. She seemed fooled on a couple of those pitches in that at-bat. She fouled 2 off, and she takes a big walk here. So Dolphins run on first here with 1 out.
Alyssa Acosta is the batter. And Joe, he did indeed hear it as Acosta just gets out of the way of that pitch, 1-0.
Big shout out to Nick. Bavona.
Said no comment.
No comment. And
He's
if I
just
was
jealous he didn't think of it first.
if I was in his position, I would plead the fifth too. Madeline Paul taking another extended lead over there at first base.
Corner in at first, about halfway at third. Paul is...
She's trying to draw a throw.
You got to be careful there.
You got to be very, very careful. She got caught stealing on a play that what we learned was she found, like she read something from the pitcher in game 1.
She ran on her own, is what
She
you're
ran
saying.
on her own. She wanted to attempt to steal, and she was unsuccessful.
And Acosta swings and misses there.
She keeps trying to draw a throw.
Well, as long as Acosta stays in the box, she doesn't have to move.
Right.
And it's very difficult to throw to first base with the batter there.
Yes, with a batter obstructing that throwing lane.
Pitch on its way to Acosta. Sliced foul.
Now the question is yes, it's going to slice just enough foul out of the third baseman's reach. Third baseman had a good read on that ball, and if that ball hung up for maybe another half a second longer, she may have had the opportunity to get underneath that.
It's 2-2 now. Pitch on its way. Hit hard on the ground to short. Could be 2. Flip to second for 1. On to first. 6, 4, 3. Double play. And the Dolphins are turned aside as they did get a runner on, but the double play will end the inning. It will stay 7-4. Beavers over the Dolphins. Bottom of the 5th inning from Claremont. Dolphins still trail by 3 runs. Our score 7-4 in favor of Bemidji State University. Alexis Miramontes back to the circle for the Dolphins. Her first pitch of the inning is taken low, ball 1. Jackie Larson, the batter. She's 2 for 2 with a run scored. Miramontes could not have asked for a much better 4th inning. Came in and quickly got 3 outs, wasting no time getting back to the dugout as that finds the corner for a strike. And the off-speed pitch misses up and away. Two and 1 the count. And that's on the inside corner for a called strike 2. says my pen is long gone.
We got to get that back for you.
We are getting it back. As that sliced foul stays 2-2.
Got a souvenir right over here, rolling down, back down the hill.
Two and two again. And she hit her. Right off the shin. And Larson will take first base to open up the home fifth.
Not a great pitch there from Miramontes. She came back on that second strike and threw one right over the inside corner. And that was really good. And that time around, just came in a little too much.
Aubrey Ackerman will be the batter. She shows bunt, runner going, throw by Paul, not nearly in time.
Good throw, but good jump by the runner at first base.
Stolen base for Larson. And the Beavers now have a runner in scoring position with nobody out.
And they're trying to manufacture an insurance run or two here.
There's a called strike.
Now the question is, if she steals second, will she attempt to steal third? We've seen it a couple of times in the first 7 games of this trip, right?
Well, I said it during one of the games, as that's taken outside. When a team feels like they can steal third base on you, that is not good. You do not want to find yourself in a position where a team believes that they can confidently attempt to steal a third base. That spells bad things in so many more ways than one. And Miramontes nearly hit another batter there. It's 2-2 now.
And that base runner at second, she keeps getting a really significant jump too. So not out of the realm of possibility.
And Miramontes gets the strikeout with that off-speed pitch we've spoken so much about.
Yeah, that thing started out knee-high and then just totally dropped right out of the zone.
And that drop ball is a weapon. When she can get that 2-strike count and work that pitch a bit more. Pitch like that, the more you see it, the easier it is to adjust to. And it's the other pitches that get you in that position.
That first pitch came in low again for ball one.
Mariah Stevens at the plate here, takes a called strike, 1-1. The 1-1. Hit sharply into left field, base hit. A run will score. The Dolphins will cut the throw off. It's short. And it's an RBI single to make it 8-4 Beavers.
Number 8, plating the 8th run for the Beavers. I told you, she got an excellent jump. I mean, that ball to hit left field was smoked. And it was hit hard. And the Dolphins, even then, had no play on it at all.
None. Stevenson drives in Larson with the base hit. And now Houts is the batter. Molly Houts, that is. She's ahead 1-0. The 1-0. High for ball 2. Miramontes wanted that call, asking where that pitch was. It's 2-0 now. There's a strike. That's outside, ball 3. 3-1 now. And Miramontes has run into quite a bit of trouble here in the 5th.
She's made economical work of the first 2 innings.
That's hit straightaway center. Stalker ranging back, reaches up, it's off her glove. And that will roll to the fence. Over to third goes Stevenson.
Seems like she lost that in the sun a little bit, Joe.
I think she just dropped it, Joe, and that's going to go down as a double. Not a routine play.
Not a routine
Stalker
play
made
at
a
all.
good break to get there, but once she got there, it looked like she had it, and the ball just popped right out of her glove.
Yep.
I would assume that goes down as a double.
Well, we'll see that in about
30 minutes.
I was gonna say about like 5 minutes, but
No, it may actually be 30 minutes, as that's over the head of Dubois and right and all the way to the wall. Lucero into second base, standing with a 2 RBI double, and the Beavers continue to pile it on here in the 5th. It's now 10-4.
a couple of misplays in the outfield by the Dolphins, and they are not able to stop the bleeding here, Joe.
Well, the Dolphins have a problem defensively right now. The breaks on the balls in the outfield and keeping the ball in front as an outfielder. Those have been 2 areas today where Dolphins have come up short.
They've gotten burned, I think, maybe playing slightly too shallow. There have been at least 2 instances here in this inning, but maybe 2 or 3 more over the course of the day where they haven't really been able to see that ball cleanly and kind of working their way back and not able to make that play.
We had a ground ball by Morgan Benedict hit to Balderas, and Benedict is out at first for out number 2, but I think it goes without saying when you have a less experienced outfielder, you're better off playing it safe and having them play deeper.
And
Now,
in this
Joe,
inning, Mariah Carcano's absence has really, really been felt.
is it possible that we could be in the bottom of the 4th? Because if so, the live stats are up to date. If not, then they're an inning ahead. DeMartini is still in the game as the pitcher as well.
So that's incorrect.
Yeah, and they have her with 7 runs allowed. That's chopped to second.
If there was a runner at second, it would have been a double play. But as it stands, there was not. And it's a routine ground ball to first. And the Dolphins do prevent any other further bleeding getting out of it.
All right, so I'm going to have to reconcile what I'm seeing on my screen right now. We'll be back. And we're back. And to our shame, Joe, we are no longer certain what inning it is.
Yeah, I can't believe it either.
Maybe it is the top of the 5th, Joe, and we were just wrong. Eileen Balderas at the plate for the Dolphins, and that swung on and missed.
This should be her 3rd plate appearance, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's her 3rd plate appearance, 100%. And here they do have her with 2 at-bats. This is the 3rd, but the pitcher is wrong, for us anyway. I'm following the live stats right now as Balderas swings and misses. I was certain it was the 5th inning last inning, Joe.
Right. And this would be the top of the 6th based on our line of thinking. We are not scoring the game here.
It's 1-2, and Balderas grounds that one foul. All right, so Nick said that, well, that's Stephanie, I believe. Yeah, that's Stephanie. Said that there is indeed something off with the live stats.
Right.
So we're right.
We're right. Okay. Thank you, Stephanie. Wherever you are, appreciate your help as always.
I don't like being confused, Joe. I'm not often confused.
I don't think we were really confused there.
Oh,
I think we're
I was. You can speak for yourself there, Joe. I was confused.
a little more perplexed than confused.
It's okay to be perplexed but not confused.
Right.
I'm going to hit you over the head with the thesaurus. That's in the dirt. I'll never forget when I was a student at CSI, the professor had us by...
You were a student at CSI? That must have been a long time ago.
I know. It's been a long time now. It's hard to believe, right? But we were told we had to buy a dictionary and a thesaurus for one of my English classes. I then proceeded to be given an 89.5 on the final essay, which was the highest grade given.
Right.
An 86.6 on the group project, which was the highest grade given. And apparently this professor did not give A's, even though he claimed he curved everything, and I got an A- in the class. Doesn't give A's.
Doesn't give A's.
Yep.
Does an A- count as an 8?
I have a word to describe that nonsense that begins with A, as that's bounce foul. So Stephanie says the inning might be correct. The pitcher is obviously wrong. That we know. Balderas continuing to battle here and grounds another one foul. So this at-bat, a long one, continues. You know what, Joe? I think we are top 5. Because the Dolphins only had one scoreless inning on the mound. All right. No, I did it. First time this season. One scoreless inning in the circle as Balderas grounds one sharply through the left side for a base hit. So I think we are top 5, Joe.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
I never realized how much I rely on the scoreboard and the live stats. I guess technically it shouldn't be upon the commentator to remember the count, the outs, exactly what inning it is. But I rely pretty heavily on that information. So Balderas is on with a leadoff single. The Dolphins trail 10-4. Nobody out here in the top of the 5th. And Anissa Acosta is the batter. Acosta is 1 for 2, and she takes up and away. They'll throw behind Balderas, who gets back. Comes the 2-0 to Acosta. That's outside. It's 3-0 now in Acosta. And she draws a 4-pitch walk. Well, when I thought we were in the 4th inning, when we were actually in the 3rd, I said the Dolphins couldn't afford to give up any more runs. They gave up 3. But now a big opportunity with 2 on, nobody out in the middle of the order up. Amanda Stalker at the plate here. And she takes in the dirt. Balderas heads for 3rd, and she's safe.
So Balderas moves from 2nd to 3rd. Acosta stays at 1st. So now the Dolphins have runners on the corners with nobody out and Stalker at the plate.
So behind the plate, there was a brief moment of protest there from Benedict, who claimed that Stalker got in the way and stepped out of the box. To no avail. And Stalker hits one to the left side. They check the runner at 3rd, and they get the out at 2nd. So Acosta is out. Balderas is forced to hold at 3rd, and Stalker reaches on a fielder's choice. Olivia Wanzer will be the batter now. Wanzer is 1 for 1 with a walk. And she rips one through the left side for a hard hit. Ground ball single. In to score is Balderas, and the Dolphins are back to within 5. It is now 10-5 Beavers.
Coach Sugar told me during the break between between the games here that sometimes it's beneficial for the Dolphins if they know they're going to probably get a first pitch strike to kind of jump on that first pitch, maybe the best available pitch in the at-bat you're going to see. And Olivia Wanzer just did that.
And that ball skips to the backstop as Bridget Motley takes that one in the dirt. Both runners move up, and the Dolphins now have 2 in scoring position again.
Second and third, 1 out. Where have we seen this before?
Many times. I can't give you
It's like Groundhog's
just once.
Day, except it's March 6th.
Yeah. Now, you and I talked about it during one of the breaks, how we were surprised that when we looked, the Dolphins only had 2 hits. At that point, it was 7-4. They were being out hit 9-2. Dolphins have drawn 7 walks. That's why it feels like they should have had more hits.
Yes.
But
so they have been able to take advantage of command inconsistencies from the Beavers pitchers in this game. You know, but this is a major spot because the Beavers just put 3 runs on the board, right? And the Dolphins already chopped 1 off of that. So if they could get these 2 runners home, now you're looking at a scenario where the last couple of half innings are a wash, and ideally 10-5 isn't where you would like to be. But, you know, if you can get it back to that 3-run deficit, you know, gives you an opportunity to kind of chip away and maybe get back here in the later innings.
The Dolphins can convert here and get these 2 runs home. That would put them right back in it as Motley takes a strike.
And we knew this was going to be a high-scoring game because, once again, this was a high-scoring game last year, and up to this point, it's actually been a higher-scoring game than last year's affair.
Pitch to Motley on its way. Outside.
Good take there by Motley. That pitch was close to the outside corner.
It's 3-1 now on Motley.
Another good at-bat for Motley.
Olivia Warner would be next. And did Motley go around? No, she did not.
She did not. Seems like she did check her swing there.
Good at bat for Motley, who draws the walk, and the bases are now loaded.
For our listeners at home,
and hold on.
Change it.
They appealed it and got the call.
Who made that call?
I mean,
was that the umpire who's at short?
If it is.
First of all, I'm going to step in here for a second.
Uh-oh.
That umpire, based on the angle that he has, absolutely can't make that call. That's a home plate umpire.
I think the home plate umpire had to have made the call.
What I was going to say, though, is if the wrists ever break, that's what you got to look for.
And Motley has
that
struck
changes
out.
The whole complexion of the inning.
That is a huge, huge swing.
Motley's on first base there, Joe.
She was there for about 30 seconds.
I don't love that at all.
I'm just curious if the call was made immediately and the Dolphins just didn't hear it.
Yeah, but if that's the case, then why are you letting Motley walk to first base? I mean, none of that made any sense to me.
Not sure what happened. But that is a huge break for the Beavers, and Olivia Warner now bats with 2 outs and 2 in scoring position. She's behind 0-1 after a called strike. Warner 0 for 2 at the plate, does have a run batted in. And that's grounded to third. Throw across the diamond in time, and the side is retired. So the Dolphins settle for just 1 run and strand 2 in scoring position. Our score, 10-5 Beaver. And we are back for the home half of the 5th inning. We think.
We think.
We think.
Well, we have a new pitcher.
New Dolphins pitcher, Paige Bell.
That we know.
Making her first appearance of the season. The Dolphins have so many arms now that I thought we'd seen them all. There were still 2 Dolphins that we hadn't seen pitch yet. There's nobody else, right, Joe?
Pretty sure there's nobody else.
I should know this, but you know.
You should know this more than I do.
It's been a long 2 weeks. I've been on the road now for...
Yeah, we need to get you back at home.
I've been on the road now for 14 days.
With your Xbox.
With my Xbox.
And your laptops.
Xbox, laptops, everything in between. All the gadgets. That's bunted foul. At the plate here for the Beavers is Amy Christensen. Christensen's 1 for 2 with a run scored. Pitch on its way, and that's low. That's it right back to the circle. Bell's throw to first in time, and there's 1 away. Back to the the top of the order now for Bemidji State. And Alexa Christensen will be the batter. That pitch is out of the zone, ball one. Outside, but that pitch as well, and it's ball two. Christensen 1 for 3 in the game with a run scored. The Beavers now with 12 hits. They have not drawn a walk, so the Dolphins have had nearly as many base runners before factoring in the errors, as that is also chopped right back to Bell, and she flips the first for the second out.
Nice start here for Bell.
Doesn't get much easier than that.
Nope. 2 relatively short at-bats.
Do I dare say I would have made that play?
Absolutely.
I think I would have made that one. I was perfect in the outfield in the faculty and staff versus students game. No misplays.
You do also have a few more inches of height on
I
too.
do. Oh, work's calling.
Work is calling.
Haven't made a post office run in 2 weeks. I don't think it's been... Man, I don't think I've ever gone more than a couple of days. As that's sent to right field, and Dubois finds it in the sun. Side retired. Beavers go down 1-2-3. Our score remains 10-5. Bemidji State over Staten Island. 6th inning from Claremont, or thereabouts anyway, in terms of innings, not the place. We know where we are. As that skips into Deanna Dubois for ball one. What I have to do, Joe, maybe I have to bring back the handwritten scorecards. It's been many years since I used that to call a game. I used to score every game.
Used to score every game with a regular card in front of you.
Correct. I used to have a giant Dick's Sporting Goods scorebook. Brought it to every game. And
you know, I do the
looks
book
at that
too.
pitch.
For our beer league team, essentially, yeah.
The way you said I do the book too. It was like, well, I can do the book too. You can do the book for the whole desk then.
That's right. At this rate, we're going to need to check the book.
Nick says we need our score sheets that we used for the Little League.
Yeah, those would come in handy, for sure.
So we just found out yesterday, and this is a bit off topic. We'll wait until after the at-bat, as Dubois takes out of the zone, or does not. That's on the corner.
Count is
2-2.
2-2.
And that's it on the ground to short. Throw across the diamond in time. So I found out yesterday.
Because Dubois loses her...
that's, I believe, a...
wristband?
Wrist protector or
Yes.
elbow protector. Elbow
Right.
guard? Elbow guard.
Elbow guard.
So Madeline Paul will be the batter here. But anyway, I learned yesterday that I will be covering the New York State Little League Baseball Championship again. And this year, every game will be at one site, which means that I will be on the call. So that's popped up into right field. Catch made there, and Madeline Paul is retired. I think that means I'm covering something like 23 games in a week. And then the following week, they're hosting the softball championship as well, and I'm covering that.
And you're covering that.
And I'm covering that. Me and Nick are going to be very busy.
Yes.
That week is one of the most enjoyable weeks of the year, as Emma O'Neill is going to get in at bat here. If I'm not mistaken, it's her first plate appearance of the trip.
Yes, Dolphins dugout, very ecstatic for that.
Well, can't offer it that one. O'Neill ahead 1-0.
May not be the last Dolphins pinch hitter we see for the remainder of this game.
Eileen Balderas does stand on deck. And I'll tell you, Joe, once the sun sets behind the Coliseum stairs, it's going to get chilly out here.
Yes, it is. It's starting to get a little chilly now. And I'll tell you something. This is, of all the days that we've been out here so far. So yesterday, weather-wise, wasn't really great over here. You experienced some rain showers. Where I was, it was more of like an overcast up until about 2:33. And then the sun came out and warmed up a little bit. Not quite as much as we saw the first couple of days. But this is the day that has been definitely the coolest of all the days.
For sure. This is perfect weather back in New York. Pitch on its way to O'Neill, and that's low. Can't help but listening to the dugout for those chants. As O'Neill bloops one on the infield, and the catch is made on the dive. What a play from over at first base to make that catch and end the inning by Avery Amadon, who just checked in. So a defensive substitution on the side of the Beavers, and it pays off right there as they are through the top of the sixth with a 5-run lead. Our score, Bemidji State 10, Staten Island 5. Home sixth inning from the spring games. Beavers over the Dolphins 10-5 as the first pitch from Paige Bell is in for a strike. Aubrey Ackerman, the batter here. And that's chopped right back to Bell again. And Acosta could not secure the throw in time. She muffed it, scooped it up. I thought she had it in time.
I thought she had it in time.
Yeah, so did I.
She dropped it on her own.
Well, no, she definitely dropped it, but I thought she re-secured it in time. Either way,
yeah, the re-secure, yes.
It's another Dolphins error, and this has been a sloppy game for the Dolphins in the field.
Yeah, but you're supposed to make that play. That play is not on Page on the throw at all.
Not at all. That was just a straight muffed throw. That was what we call an E3M in the program. And Ackerman moves up to second. I may have to remove that live stats link from the live chat. Oh boy. That pitch misses high. Mariah Stevenson at the plate here. She's 3 for 3 with a triple and 2 runs batted in. She's had a great day. Looking to continue that here, and Motley's glove was in the way as they almost doubled off the runner at second.
She almost didn't feel that cleanly either. It seems like that sun at this point right now is becoming a little bit of a factor.
So there was a wild pitch as well. I neglected to mention that as I was looking at the live stats to get the scoring on that last play. But there was a wild pitch that allowed the runner to advance to second. That pitch in for a strike to Molly Houts, 0-1. Houts is 1 for 3 with 2 runs scored. And she grounds one to the left side. Balderas got a glove on it, but couldn't knock it down. She tried to stop it on the sliding backhand, and it got through into left field. That's an RBI hit for Houts. Her first run batted in the game. Ackerman comes in to score, and it's now 11-5. Going to have a pinch runner come in here as well.
2 coming in for 20, Joe.
Josie Kappas will be the pinch runner. It's a good thing the umpire had a pen to write it down.
Should be part of the job, right? Having a pen on you at all times.
He had a red pen.
He had a red pen.
And it ran out of ink. He then left that with me. I hope it wasn't a trade.
No, I don't think so. But still, your pen's got to be ready to go. I mean, you can't bring a pen that you know is
on its last legs,
That's
right?
right.
That's right.
Couldn't have said it any better. We finished each other's sentences.
That's a bit too far. May have to stop doing that.
And if I wasn't careful before, you were going to finish my sandwich.
That's true, I was. But not after you already started. That's the key. I had already started my sentence. So that's grounded through the left side for a base hit. Yeah. Only significant others get to share my food with me, Joe.
That's right. Two very difficult ground balls there to Balderas. She didn't really have an opportunity or a play on either one. Both of them were very hard hit.
Another pinch hitter coming to the plate here. Jenna Bird.
With 3 for 7, officially.
Bird for Benedict at the plate. We presume Bird will come in to catch as well.
Eclipse
Bellness
season's
is
almost
high.
upon us.
It's going to be more than an eclipse. It's going to be a sunset behind the bleachers that leaves us freezing. Comes the 1-0. That's high for ball 2. Well, after a really strong all-around effort in the first game for the Dolphins in terms of their pitching, their hitting, and the defense, it has been the defense in this game that has really let them down, and only 4 hits as well. They've had good at-bats, as you said, Joe. They've
Drew a lot of walks.
Drawn a lot of walks.
But a bunch of good at-bats once again. Most of the at-bats they've had in this game, they were able to do exactly what they needed to do.
That's hit to the left side again, and Balderas applies the tag to the lead runner. Nicely done by Balderas.
Nice play there. If that ball's hit any slower, she doesn't have the opportunity to make the tag on that base runner going from second to third.
Pinch runner Kappas tagged out between second and third, and they are now 2 away. That ball is hit well, left center field. Stalker at the wall makes the catch, and that'll do it for the Beavers in the home 6th inning. Last chance for the Dolphins when we come back. They trail 11-5. Last chance for the Dolphins here in the 7th inning. They will send the top of the order to the plate with Eileen Balderas leading things off. Balderas at the plate is 1 for 2 with a walk. Dolphins have drawn 7 walks in this game, just 5 hits. Make that 4 hits. They've been out hit in this one 14-4 and have committed 4 errors. Balderas ahead 1-0. That's chopped foul. Tracy almost ran into it off the rebound trying to avoid the ball. So when the sun was out, Tracy began the day coaching from in the shade.
She did.
Now, she's making her way toward the sunlight.
Yeah.
Here comes the 1-1, and that's hit pretty well out to right.
That's it very well, Joe.
And that ball is gone. Into the wind and out of here. Eileen Balderas with the first Dolphins home run here at the spring games in Florida. It is her first of the season, and for the team, that is their second long ball of 2025.
You almost John Sterling that. In the
I
way.
most certainly did not. You hopped in and said very well. You tried to rob that.
Well, there was
John Sterling is not being sure if it left, Joe.
No, I said you reversed John Sterling that.
Oh.
You were like, you were like, it's hit well, and I was like, no,
Joe,
it was hit very well.
Without the wind, that's not leaving.
No, of course not. But the wind gave that a little extra oomph. And there's an American flag out there.
She got under that ball. The wind took it right over the fence.
Like I said, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
That cleared the top of the wall by a fraction of an inch.
I knew it had a chance to go.
Oh, so did I. That's why I said it was hit pretty well.
Sure it did. Good start to the inning here for the Dolphins. Leadoff solo home run, and it's 11-6.
She hit it to the right spot. That was impressive opposite field power.
Yep.
Shown by Balderas, but that is where you want to hit the ball here. High into the air, out to right field. And the wind right now is blowing more forcefully than it has just about any point in the day. Acosta in a 2-strike hole now. There's a souvenir for us. Well, if you flinch on that one, I might have been able to catch that one.
She was very clearly coming for me. That ball hit right at the base where my feet is on the wall.
1-2 the count on Acosta. Two and 2.
Now, for those following on YouTube, you're listening to us. You do not have video. I'm sure there's a couple of sets of parents or friends at home who do have the video, who paid for it. But the shadows here are very, very closely creeping up on the pitcher, Joe.
The ball coming now out of the sunlight into the shadow, really at the point of release.
Which is the opposite of Tracy, who's going from the shadows to the sun. She's all the way out on the left field grass in foul territory.
Smart woman.
Ball
That's
4.
taken up and away, ball 4. So Acosta's on.
Dolphins making this just a little bit interesting, Joe.
All right, let's not get carried away, but it's a 5-run game. Anything can happen.
Nobody out, base runner on first.
I just looked down at my phone. Nick Pavona sent you and I a legendary John Sterling home run call. The ball was not gone, spoiler, as Amanda Stalker pops it up. Could be trouble in the sunlight, but it was handled well out in center field. Charging in to make the catch was Larson. 1 away. Olivia Wanzer will be the batter now. Should we play the Sterling home run call into the microphone?
No. I thought about it, but I don't think it's the time.
We're running out of time.
We are running out of time.
And that one skips in. Acosta took a couple of steps off of first, but heads back. It's 2-0 now.
Wanzer had a hard hit earlier in this game. She takes that pitch up high.
That's ball 3. Here in this inning, Lucero's been working around the strike zone a bit more than we've seen, though there are the 7 walks, obviously. But it's been especially apparent here in this inning. A lot of these pitches have not been close, and ball 4 was off the catcher's glove into the backstop. So once again, Dolphins have 2 on base, and they have had plenty of foot traffic on the base paths in this game.
Yes, they have foot traffic. This whole trip in Claremont has not been the issue for the Dolphins.
Certainly not. I'm standing up to get in the sunlight now, Joe.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to join you as we have a pitching change for the Beavers.
Well, that was a well-deserved ovation for Kira Lucero, who came on in relief in the first inning. And she had to go a long way in this game after Danica Sarf had a lot of trouble in inning number 1. Beavers wasted no time going to the bullpen, and Lucero pitched pretty well. Gave them some good length in this game. It was really the walks that hurt her the most. The Dolphins, outside of the Balderas home run, weren't hitting scorchers when they did put the ball in play. And now Bemidji State will turn to the bullpen to try and get final 2 outs of this game. Into pitch will be Peyton Purcell.
We got just a little more sun, Joe.
Yeah, Joe, the sun is about to disappear behind the Coliseum-style seating, which means the temperature is about to dip quite a bit here in Claremont. Dolphins hoping to continue a 7th-inning rally when play resumes, and if the Dolphins are not able to come from behind in this game, it would be a 6-4 start to the season, a 4-4 start in Claremont, with 2 games to go tomorrow. Going to have to cheat to find out what time those games are.
If it's like this tomorrow, I think I'm going to do what you did. I'm going to wear that same exact long sleeve shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long sleeve Nike, I would say like a middleweight shirt.
Yeah,
it's not
absolutely.
a sweatshirt, but it's not a lightweight t-shirt
no, it's
either.
Not.
It's a very nice piece.
It's the perfect in between. I'll tell you something. In general, the CSI apparel is incredible.
Top notch.
It really is.
At the plate here, Bridget Motley with 2 on, 1 out in the inning. Motley is 0 for 2 at the plate. She's drawn a walk. Pitch from Purcell on the outside corner. 0-2. So tomorrow, Once again, we play at 2 and 4. Now, if I have any say in the future, tell Tracy to keep scheduling just like this. 2 and 4. Love it. I love it.
We were supposed to have a 9 a.m. start today, but
well, I don't like that.
yeah. So
I
unfortunately,
made a call.
You made a call.
I made a call. I said, slow the plane down. Keep the plane grounded. Bemidji State got here a bit late.
That's right.
And we started at 4 o'clock.
We did. Unfortunately, due to weather conditions, ice on the runway, their plane did not leave until late last night.
Unfortunately, depending on your perspective, as that pitch goes to the backstop, and both runners will advance.
So just like that, Joe, second and third, 1 out. How many times in Claremont have we seen second and third for the Dolphins with 1 out in an inning?
Quite a few.
Quite a few.
Quite a few. I can't name just one, as I said before.
I'm pretty sure we're up to 10.
Multiple instances now in this game alone.
But again, making it interesting here in the 7th inning, Joe.
Get a run in and have the bases loaded with just 1 out, and then I'm interested.
Right.
You need that tying run to the plate, even if it's a long shot.
Bridget Motley doing her part, going from behind in the count, trying to work the count back in her favor.
Pitch on its way, and Motley just got a piece.
A couple foul balls here. Again, really good at-bats from Motley here this trip so far. She made that error, unfortunately, at third base before on that throw, but she's made a really nice series of plays and pick plays over there.
Count 2 and 2 on Motley, and she just gets a piece again.
Almost hit the camera.
Good riddance.
And again, I didn't flinch. Imagine I flinched twice in 60 seconds, and I haven't flinched since.
Well, not everyone can be me, Joe. Purcell set to deliver. Another 2 and 2 pitch. And that's low for ball 3.
Great eye there by Bridget, taking that pitch low on the outside part of the plate.
The Dolphins Christmas caroling
ball
call.
That's right. The Beavers were doing the same thing earlier.
Were
in the
they?
game. Yeah, very similar chant.
Motley hits one left side toward the hole, knocked down. And Wanzer will wisely hold at second. Acosta will score, and Motley reaches on an infield single. It's now 11-7, and Joe, it is now interesting.
Now it is interesting. She hit that ball in the perfect spot. The shortstop had to range to her right. She made a really nice play to keep that ball in the infield, and Wanzer wisely held up at second, because if she would have ran, shortstop would have had to play at third base again.
Absolutely. Olivia Warner, the batter now. Dolphins within 4, 2 on. 1 out here in the 7th.
As we sway back and forth.
Yeah. I'm
it
swaying.
Got chilly here really quick.
I'm swaying to the pace of the chant.
That's right. They're helping us out over here.
But I'm still impartial, I promise. The 1-0. Chop to third. And they will go the short way and step on third base. 2 gone.
So Warner grounds right to the third baseman. She had to play to first, but stepping on the base, getting the lead runner. Nicely done. The Dolphins will down to their last out.
Deanna Dubois will be the batter here. First pitch, up high, ball 1. Dubois came on as a defensive replacement in right field earlier in the game. Is this her second or third at bat, Joe?
That's a good question.
And that's off the catcher's glove, a called strike to the backstop, and both runners will advance.
So that pitch definitely crossed in over the outside part of the plate, but it does go to the backstop, and the Dolphins runners advance to second and third.
You know what would be really funny, Joe? If all along we were right. This was the 6th inning. That pitch is low. The only reason I say that is because Madeline Paul is on deck in her catcher's gear.
Right.
Why would you be in your catcher's gear if it's the 7th inning?
That's a good question.
Of a game you're trailing in. Could it possibly be the 6th inning, Joe? That would be wild. That's it for a strike.
That means there's a phantom.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
At this point, I honestly hope not.
I hope not either.
I hope
should
not,
be
too.
the top of the 7th, right?
It should be.
Right.
That's what the live stats say. It's 3-1 on Dubois, and she takes a strike. And it was 3-2, Joe.
It was 3-2. Yes, I'm sorry I didn't catch you in time there.
Well, I was looking at the live stats. Shame
Right.
on me. That will do it. And the Beavers defeat the Dolphins by a final score of 11-7. The Dolphins get a couple back in the 7th, but they strand 2 on base, never bring the tying run to the plate. And it's another 1-1 day for the Dolphins here in Claremont. They are now 4-4 on the trip and 6-4 on the season. The Dolphins wrap up with a pair of games tomorrow. They take on Dominican University of New York at 2 p.m. And then in their final game here in Florida, they take on St. Cloud State University at 4 p.m. As has been the case all week long, Joe and I will be on the call tomorrow. Then after that, it's off to Buffalo for me for the East Coast Conference Men's and Women's Basketball Championships. We thank everyone who tuned in today and has tuned in all week long, and we hope to have you back watching again tomorrow. Once again, our final score, the Beavers 11 and the Dolphins